to Takeout Extra episode 5. Now, Sceptic Takeout episode 5 was huge. It was by far the biggest one I'd ever done, but it was also very light-hearted. So what we're going to do is we're going to not keep this too serious as a review episode. I'm just going to do something which some of you might find actually quite interesting, and I'm going to go through the process of how I actually make my videos. To start with, I usually do a little bit of research depending on the subject matter. I may already have a little bit of background knowledge, I may know nothing, it all depends on what I'm talking about. My absolute favourite way to research, and in my opinion by far the most accurate, is to have hard copies of the stuff you're talking about. So if I want to talk about psychology, I'll pull a book out about psychology and I'll just have a look through that, see if I can find references and quotes and things. Obviously that's not always possible, and you do have to go online, and obviously keeping the best sources you can, double checking your sources, having a look at multiple sources, all this contributes to a very well researched episode. Once you've got your background information, the next step for me is writing a script. What I'm going to show you now is the way I lay the scripts out and the extra little bits I put in them. I'm going to hand you over to me. Okay, so what we're going to do now is look through the way I put together an episode. What I tend to do is I have a script for each episode which I make notes on, write the script, make notes on, and put information on where I need to insert graphics and things of that nature. This is the script I use for Sceptic Takeout episode 5. So I have a brief introduction, and then I'll put some instructions in red so they stand out. Need to place the graphics and put a break for the titles in. Now, normally what I'd do then is have a little post introduction, and then we'd start around here with chapter 1. The nature of episode 5 didn't require chapters, so we've done it in a slightly different way and just used headings instead. We'll work his way down, first section, and then we get another instruction to insert a clip. This is the preamble to each of the clips, again insert clip, and then we move on to what would be chapter 2, but in this case is just another heading. I've inserted the quotes here. What I would normally do when I'm doing quotes is make a note and then put a little note on screen about where I got them from. As these quotes are taken directly from the programs I'm actually talking about, I haven't done that in this case. On we go, and we get to another little note. Just put a link into the books from You Are Not So Smart, just so I know to put them on the page just before the clip of the show comes on. Once again with the quotes, what I'd normally do is put some kind of reference in behind this so I know where the quotes come from, which I can then include in the description of the video on YouTube. Don't need to do this in this case because we know exactly where it's come from. It's come from Dr. Becky's website. Moving on, more of the same again, chapter headings here. And then the final postscript, which would be usually called the conclusion, but obviously in this case, once again, it's a little bit different, so I've just written it down as a title, finally. What I normally do in the links, this is where I would put my normal links section. These are all the links I would normally have on. Myself and Laura and Richard, who I do the Sceptic Hangout podcast with, Kenneth Leonard, and I've going to start including Ethan Michael in this as well, but I've not got around to doing that just yet. And then finally the Atheist Community of Austin. Underneath that section, which I've not done because of the nature of this episode, is I would put all the links to the websites, all the citations for the quotes I've used in my script and what I'm talking about, and any additional notes in there, so that anyone watching can go and find that information out for themselves and do the further research themselves just to see what sources I've used to verify them for themselves. Before I do that, in the description of the YouTube video, I'd move that down and then I'd just put timestamps in this area so people can find specific sections. And that is pretty much how I'd go about using the script. Straightforward, easy enough to do. Like I said, the major difference between this one and, say, for example, episode 6, which is the Muhammad episode, is in the Muhammad episode I'm going to have links to quotes from the Quran or from there's one from a military history website and things like that, just giving that extra depth of information. And where information like this is, I'd just put a note to myself in there just to tell me where they've come from and what the quote is. So that's it for this part of things. Now, back to me. Thank you, Richard. Right, the next thing we're going to have a look at is this studio setup, because you all see me this side, but what you don't see is the other side of the camera very much. So I'm going to have a little bit of a walkthrough with you just to show you how I've got this thing set up. In this section, what we're going to do is I'm just going to have a brief rundown of the studio that I use, the little area. I call it a studio. It's more my little office space, which is just sat in the corner of my living room. So I use this for doing all my university work, any other kind of study work I have to do, which is why it's right next to the bookcase, which I've had a previous tour of. I use it for recording any music. I recorded both the theme for Sceptic Hangout and Sceptic Takeout in this little area. You'll notice holding a very old camcorder here at the minute. That old. It actually needs plugging in, by the way, because the battery doesn't work. So the reason I've got this set up the way I have is because I'm recording the sound through the computer. So what I use to record that sound is this blue Yeti Nano microphone. Brilliant little microphone. The little brother to the Yeti microphone, and it's brilliant. I couldn't really ask for anything else. I think it cost me around £120, if I remember rightly, when I bought it. I've not had it that long. It's made a world of difference to the sound in my studio. I used a variety of different microphone setups for the first couple of episodes. I used the onboard computer microphone. I used the camera in this webcam I'm holding now. And I also had a couple little audio vocal mics, which didn't, because they had to go through preamps and things to get into the computer, they didn't work so well. So yeah, this is just a plug and play microphone. Absolutely brilliant little thing, couldn't ask for better. Likewise with the camera, I started off using the generic camera. I don't know if you can see that there on the computer. I think the first episode I actually recorded with this camera in my hand that I've got in my hand now. But I've moved on to a Logitech C22 Webcam. That's absolutely brilliant. It's a streaming webcam. I think a lot of people use it for gaming and things like that. It's done an absolutely brilliant job. Couldn't ask for anything better than that, apart from moving up in price. I think that cost me about £130. I think if I was going to move on, I'd be talking about £500 or £600 the next level. So I can't really complain with that. What I did experience a problem with was the lighting. It was pointed out by a few people that it was quite dark, and I was just literally shutting the curtains, using the living room light up there to light the studio. What I've since done is I bought these two little studio lights here. Now, they cost me £30 off Amazon. You can pay a lot of money for studio lights. These two things cost me £30 off Amazon, and they have made a world of difference to my broadcasting. I'm just going to turn one on and just show you how bright they are. And look at that. If you could see that, when that is shining in your eyes, that is not pleasant, but it has made a world of difference to my recording and the quality of the visual quality of the studio. So I'll be sat here, I'll be reading from my script on the screen, and you know, most of the time I have a script. If I need any additional notes, hard copy notes, what I do is I've got my music stand here from my old school music days, and I just use that to stick a book on, and I'll just flick through that and read from any notes I need from there. I'll make a note of the page I need and then just go through there. It's lovely. I can move it around, I can bring it down in front of me if I need to. It's fantastic. You may have noticed this is a makeshift. This is an old vocal microphone stand that I've got. So I've attached a microphone shock absorber onto it, which doesn't quite fit, but I've attached that onto that, and then I've attached the webcam onto that, because when I had the camera attached to the top of the computer, it was looking down at me all the time. Now if you have a look there, it's looking head on. It's much better for getting a good quality picture. So that is pretty much the studio setup. Back to me. Thank you, me. The last little bit we're going to have a look at on this episode is just how I cut and edit the episodes using the software on the computer. That's the final stage before we go into actually uploading the videos to YouTube. So have a quick look at this. We've had a look at the way I do the scripts, we've had a look at the kind of things that I use in my studio. What we're now going to have a look at is how I edit. The program I use is Vegas Movie Studio. As you can see, there's quite a lot of channels. I'll try and break this down a little bit for you, if we can do. Each of these things on the side here are individual tracks. So we've got video tracks, audio tracks, picture tracks. We can move along if we go into that mode there. Look.
I can't believe it. It's gone so fast.
We've got these extra tracks. We can do all these things. So we've got the main video track here. We can mute that. That will go off, as you can see. So that
Top 10 list. They are all brilliant.
So can just control that with the spacebar, whether we play it or not. We've also got controls along the bottom here. We can add in is things like this. So if I solo that, that's just a Sceptic Takeout Twitter address. Or we can solo this one, which is the Facebook address. We've also got the symbol, which is imported, and the Facebook one. Okay, so we've got lots of things to look at here. They continue all the way through. This is a video track I added in. There we go. And if we come down here, well, I have to zoom in a little bit for this one. I've used 4 different tracks to highlight these, import these different pictures. So one there, one there, one there, one there. And I can move all these around. So if I want the first one to move around a little bit, I'll put that there. I can go into here, go into motion tracking, open that up, and then we can move that around to wherever we want it on the screen. It's really helpful. This is a really good program, actually. It gives us lots and lots of tracks to play with. This is all my imported media, so I can just pull that down wherever I want it. And of course we've got the audio track, so we can change the audio, we can make it louder or quieter. We have got a master volume there. Or if we go back, I'll just go back to the beginning.
Hello and welcome back to Sceptic Takeout.
We can actually
It's
do that
episode 5 already.
through here.
I can't believe it. It's gone so fast.
We can make that
Anyway,
as loud or as quiet as we want to make it. We can also chop and change things about. So if we get to around here, we should get the titles coming up. Right, that's it. So what we can do is we can split those tracks up there.
I've been set.
Get to the end, split those tracks up, and we can just take that section out and we can move it to somewhere else. Keep it on the same track, move it onto different tracks, whatever we want to do. We can also add new media in. We've got Dr. Becky's books here, so if we can set that playing.
Space, 10 Things You Should Know, or the American version, Space at the Speed
Just
of
lets
Light,
us put those in there, and again, exactly the same as with the other thing. We can track the motion on that, and we can just move that wherever we want throughout the page. So we can have it behind the text up here or down here and that. And that is pretty much it. It's all very good. We import it, so once we've done all that, we've got all those tracks on, we get his main track on, we get his audio track on, got all the little bits we want in. We can just go up to project up here, we're happy with it, and we can render it to a file that we're happy with. That is the finished product, and that is ready for publication. So I hope you've enjoyed that episode. It's something just a little bit different. Please give me your feedback. Let me know what you want me to do. Let me know if you've got any suggestions. Let me know if you've got any ideas for shows. I'm more than open to listening to any ideas or feedback, positive or negative, that you've got. So please do hit me with it. The next episode of Sceptic Takeout is the Best of Men series part 2, where we're going to be looking at Muhammad, and we're going to be looking at the way his followers elevate his character against the way that we can look at his character from an outside perspective. I'll see you then.